Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to check out a little girl's incredible math talent. The teacher casually asked what 3 plus 3 is, and while the other kids excitedly raised their hands, Mary gave a dismissive look. Seriously, is this a school? Everyone knows it's 6. Faced with Mary's challenge, the teacher initially smiled it off, asking her to stand up and keep answering. But as the questions got trickier, Mary kept breezing through, and the teacher's smile started to look a bit awkward. To save face, the teacher casually posed the question that she herself wasn't entirely sure about, and Mary responded with an expression of "Let me think about it." This question clearly had Mary stumped, and just as the teacher was relieved to move on, Mary interrupted again. So the teacher quickly pulled out the calculator to check. Turns out she was right. Mary even calculated the square root, and the teacher was utterly impressed, immediately calling the principal in. Before the principal could say a word, Mary had her little hand up, and just like that, Frank was summoned on the first day of school. The teacher said straight up that Mary might be a math genius, calculating 3-digit numbers in a flash, but Frank interrupted. Because she knows the Trachtenberg system. I got 2 at 8. Do I look like a genius? She left with her niece. But the teacher's curiosity only grew, so she began searching online for the Trachtenbergs. It was indeed a way to calculate ounces quickly, but she found it a bit odd. Meanwhile, Frank took Mary to the docks, and she played with shells like a regular kid, jumping around on the beach and having a blast with Jane's one-eyed cat. That's when Mary asked Frank, "Do you believe Mom would desire me to pursue my studies at this school?" Frank didn't directly answer, but used today's events as a teachable moment, saying he didn't know what she would think, but she'd surely want Mary to make friends. Not show off just because she's smart, and definitely not to challenge the principal or the teachers. So the next day at school, Mary toned it down a lot, introduced herself like the other kids, even introducing her one-eyed cat she rescued from the trash. The teacher was pleased to see this, but during the next math quiz, she kept an eye on Mary and gave her a high school calculus test. It turned out Mary finished it quickly again, confirming her genius. After school, the teacher began searching the internet for Mary's search. Soon enough, a math journal popped up revealing Mary's mother was a famous genius mathematician. The entire page filled with her past awards, but she tragically committed suicide while solving a world-class problem. The uncle raising Mary wasn't a slouch either. She was a philosophy professor at Manhattan University. While she was making ends meet by repairing boats down at the docks. Although things were tight, Mary didn't even have her own room. Mary was still growing up happy and healthy with her uncle around. But talent shines through. At 7, Mary had self-taught college calculus, and she was absolutely bursting with a profound sense of justice too. One day, a boy carefully placed his handmade project on the bus when a bigger kid maliciously stuck out his leg, instantly breaking the boy's creation in half. The big kid laughed mockingly. Mary couldn't take it anymore, grabbed a book, and smashed it down on him. Just like that, Frank was called again for a parent-teacher meeting. Seeing the big kid covered in blood, Frank realized that his niece had caused quite a bit of trouble this time, yet surprisingly, the principal didn't scold her. Instead, she suggested transferring Mary to a school for gifted kids and even offered to apply for a full scholarship. Hearing that, Frank finally relaxed, but then decisively turned it down. She believed that the gifted school would only highlight Mary's differences, which wouldn't be good for her development. She insisted Mary just needed to be a regular kid and felt proud of her standing up for what's right. With that, Frank got up to leave. Seeing she wouldn't back down, the principal had no choice but to ask for all of Mary's info and surreptitiously contacted her the next day in class. With the teacher's patient guidance, Mary finally admitted to the class that hitting was wrong. But what she said next stunned everyone in the room. They thought Mary was going to defend herself, but she instead showered the boy who lost his project with kind words. The teacher broke into a satisfied smile, but she wondered what experiences led a 7-year-old girl to show such compassion. Therefore, she once again approached Mary's Uncle Frank in the hope of seeking answers from him. Frank didn't initially want to respond. Eventually, under the teacher's pressure, she spoke up, revealing that her sister, Mary's mother, had shown that talent from a young age, but was treated by their strict mother as a tool to chase the highest honor in mathematics. So, when their mother learned that her sister was pregnant, she immediately abandoned her, because it didn't fit the life plan she had laid out for her daughter. Mary's father was even worse. He vanished after dating her sister he probably didn't even know Mary existed. Given the situation, Frank stepped up to take full responsibility for raising Mary without hesitation. They spent 7 wonderful years together, even though Frank had long noticed Mary's extraordinary talent and her intense interest in math. But she hoped Mary could have a colourful childhood, instead of following in her mother's footsteps. So every time Mary opened a calculus book, Frank would forcibly drag her outdoors to play. They would play freely under the sunset, and everything felt so perfect, but this life didn't last long. One day after school, a woman stood waiting at the door. It was Frank's mother, Evelyn, whom she hadn't seen in years. When she was young, she was also dedicated to math, but after marrying and having kids, she put aside her academic dreams to live vicariously through her daughter. Little did she know this would pressure her daughter into a dead end, or even worse. Frank's relationship with her mother broke down, and in the following 7 years, she hadn't even seen her granddaughter once. The reason her mother had come now was that she heard from the school about Mary's astounding talent in math, and her once dead heart started to beat again. To win her granddaughter's affection, she brought a ton of gifts, including a brand new Apple computer, and there was even a book on advanced algebra inside it. To everyone's utter shock, Mary responded promptly. She outright denied her grandmother's intentions. This only made Evelyn more determined to take Mary away, and she planned to meet with Frank the next day to resolve the issue. But Frank wasn't going to let her sister's tragic story play out again.